Perfect. Okay. So I'm actually really, really excited to talk about what I had planned for tonight, which was potentials, how I organize all things potentials, and how I do my follow-ups and what that kind of looks like for me. I know it's different for every single person. So this is just going to kind of be what's worked for me in the last 2 years or so. Um, and I'm super excited to touch on that. I know you guys asked a bunch of questions in the team page, so I'm going to touch on those also. But I really wanted to start with something just because I've been seeing this a lot on social media lately, and it brought me back to when I was a nurse. And when I was in nursing school, and if I have any other nurses on here or anybody who's in the medical field, you know the saying, the most dangerous nurse is the one who thinks she knows it all, or the one who knows it all is the most dangerous nurse. If you're in the medical field, you've probably heard this from a mentor or anything like that. And that was something that I don't know why, but it came out to me, like, it just in my head. I was reading something on social media and I was like, the most dangerous nurse is the one who thinks she knows it all, or the one who has all the answers. And I don't know why it popped into my head, because I haven't been a nurse in many, many years, but it's something that just stuck with me. And it stuck with me, and it came out to me when I was reading something, and it reminded me that no matter where you are in your business, in your network marketing journey, no matter how many years you've been in, or days or months or whatever it may be, you are never going to know it all. And I can gladly say, for myself, I don't know it all. That's why when I say things and we get on trainings, I always say, this is the way I do it. But that's also why we have so many other amazing people train, and why I ask for so many people, if they have something they want to train on, to step up and train, because I have things to learn from you, just like you have things to learn from me. And in this business, the worst thing you can do for yourself is think that you know it all, to the fact that it should happen overnight, or it should happen quicker than it's happening. Um, and this obviously has nothing to do with the saying that I started it out with, but that was the saying that kind of popped into my head when I was thinking about this, because I was on my stories and somebody was talking, and I don't remember who it was, but she was saying how she was leaving network marketing because she had been in it for 2 weeks. I think she said it was like something like so short. And she was like, and she said, I'm not seeing the success. And I was like, and I didn't know her. It was just like somebody, I go through stories for interactions. Y'all know how I do my IPAs. And I was like, thought to my head, I was like, I don't know what company you were a part of, but honey, 2 weeks. And so safe to say, I exited out of that story because I didn't have anything to add value for her at the moment. So I just kept going. But it made me realize and really think about who on here, whether you are 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months, or 2 years, how many people on here have ever thought, I'm not seeing the success? Or they've looked at somebody else on our team, or on our tribe, or on a sideline tribe, or whatever it may be, and kind of feel like, how is she doing it? Why is it working for her and not working for me? Why is it working so fast for her? Why can she enroll promoters? Why can she sign up customers? Why can she do this? Why can she do that? And then you think, and you're like, what am I doing wrong? I feel like, yeah, there you go. People calling themselves out in the chat. I feel like we all have these times, me included. I look at other people who aren't even 80Ks, 200Ks, 40Ks, and I'm like, holy, sorry. I'm like, holy shit, like, they just started. But then I sit there and I'm like, I don't know their story. The person who thinks that they know it all about this journey, about somebody else's journey, it's the most dangerous for you. And so I kind of took that saying when it popped into my head, and I was watching these stories, and I was finding people coming to me in comparison traps, and I was like, I'm sorry, y'all, hold on. This is so cute. Okay. And I was like, what? You are being so dangerous to yourself. You are being so dangerous to your mindset. You are being so dangerous to your future success. You're giving it a timeline. You're giving it an expiration date. You're giving it somebody else's timeline. When you compare yourself and you compare your journey, you are being dangerous to yourself in this business. One, you're never going to know it all. I don't care how successful somebody is. They will never, ever know it all, because a successful person in this industry will tell you, I don't know why I have a frog in my throat. Sorry. Hopefully this isn't the whole entire training, because that would just be like obnoxious. But the most successful person, or whoever you look up to as a mentor in this business, if you ask them if they know it all about their industry, I'm going to guarantee you that they're successful, because they're going to be, well, I would hope that they would be honest and tell you no, that they are still learning. If you look at people that you follow in this industry and you see and you're like, wow, their success, right? They're growing daily. They're growing daily. So the worst thing that you can do for your business and for yourself is to, one, compare, but two, stop growing. Get into that. When you get into that mindset and you're like, I've been here for X amount of days, right? I've been here for X amount of months, or I've been here for a year. I've been here for whatever it may be, whatever your time frame may be. You are putting an expiration date on your journey. If I would have said after a year in this journey, oh, I didn't go 200K. Wow. I'm not successful at this. I'm not meant to be here. Y'all, this whole last year would have never happened for me if I had that mindset. This whole last year, and I didn't start to see this success that people are like, how did you do it? And where I'm at right now, until the last year. I started in this industry when I was 19 years old. Think about it. I'm 27. Y'all can do the math, because that's not my jam, but y'all know what I mean. Like, you have to be willing to put in the work. You have to be willing to learn. You have to be willing to grow. And then there was one more thing that I wanted to say, so I wrote it down, because y'all know me, I'm the worst at this. Oh, some of y'all want to be right so bad, right? Your way is the highway. You're doing it all. You are, and I was guilty of this. So that's why, and I'm not just like pointing anyone out. I'm saying this because my first year, this was me. I was so right. It was my way. I didn't care. I was so right about what I was doing that I failed myself because I was so right. You can fail by being right, because you think you are so right that you aren't willing to grow and you aren't willing to learn. You have to be willing to learn. You have to be willing to grow, because when you stop and you think that you know it all, you're going to fail yourself into being right. And then what's more important, saying, oh, I was right, or wow, I learned so much and look at how much I grew. I was talking to Taylor tonight, and we were talking about some different stuff, and I told her, because she asked us an opinion on a caption today, and it was something around like, you can have you we're not the same, you get likes on your social media and my social media pays my bills, or something like that. Her post was really cute, but it was so funny because a year ago when she joined me, she wouldn't post to save her life because she was afraid of not getting likes. And I literally told her, I said, baby girl, one day you're not going to care about the likes because it's going to be paying your bills. And so it was such a like turnaround of events, because that's exactly where she's at today. She put her ego aside. She put it down. She said, you know what? I don't care. All the time people ask me and they're like, how do you post what you do? How do you put yourself out there? And it's just, seriously, I don't care. You have to realize that you are more important than somebody making fun of you, or than somebody saying X, Y, and Z about your post, or somebody not liking your post. You are more important. Your dreams are more important. Your goals are more important. I used to be so afraid that when people would ask me what I did for a living, I didn't even know what to say. I would like clam up. I'd be like, uh, and I would get really, really intimidated and really, really shy. Not because what I do for a living is wrong, but because I knew that they were going to say something about it and I wasn't mentally there yet. Now people ask me what I do and I'm like, let me show you. I'm like, you got a minute? Sit down. Let's chat. Like, I am so here. Why? Because somebody can tell me whatever they want and it's not going to faze me. You have to grow yourself and you have to realize that in this industry, it's not just growing your following. It's not just growing your network. If you're not growing yourself in all aspects of your business, I do not give two shits what kind of following you have on Instagram. And I'm sorry, I'm being very brutally honest tonight, but I don't. You could tell me you have 10K followers. I'm going to say, great, but what are you going to do with that? If you're afraid to post because you have 10K followers, what is that 10K followers doing for you? I grew to 80K with less than 300 followers on Instagram because I didn't care what that number was. I didn't care how many likes I got because all I cared about was that I was adding value and I was putting myself out there to help others. And when people tell me and they ask me, they're like, it's so easy for you because you have a large following. And I'm like, click on any of my followers. I guarantee you they're a thriver. Like, my following is so full of thrivers and I love it. But if you think it's easy because I have a rank, or you think it's easy because I've done this, y'all, people know Taylor and I, because we live in the same town, right? People join Taylor over me because I'm success because of where I am in this. I'm intimidating to them. Literally, and Taylor one day asked, and I'm using you tonight a lot because, well, you kind of fit in this. She texted me and she was like, I can't believe they joined me over you. And I was like, I can. Are you kidding me? Like, these are things that when you have that mindset, you just have to go. Following means nothing. You could have 10,000 followers and not a single sale. That's why I always say influencers are not really my jam. Nothing against them, but influencers are paid to post. We get our money when we help people. There's a difference. I know so many people that can post a picture and like leggings, right? Or a Starbucks cup and go and sell pumpkin spice lattes. But you are actually helping somebody. You're going to make money once you help people. So to me, get out of your own way. Stop being afraid to fail, that you actually are failing yourself, and grow. And I'm not just talking about that number or a like. I want you to actually grow yourself. Grow and dive in deep. If you have a question about a topic, go into the team pages. Go onto YouTube, Google it. Search it on a hashtag. There are so many things that you can learn from other people that you haven't even seen yet. Your mentor does not have to be the person that you enrolled through. I'm going to say that again. And you're probably going to be like, well, if you enrolled through me, you're probably going to be like, what the heck? Why are you saying that? Go and grow from other people besides just me. I'm saying it. Em is my leader. Em is not always my mentor. She is my leader and I love her to death. And she brought me into this business, but she is not always my mentor for every situation. Some situations I need to go figure it out. Your person who enrolled you does not need to be your mentor. If they are not where you want to be, or maybe they are, and this is why I always say your enroller does not make or break your business, because there are so many resources out there, so many tools out there for you all to use. You just have to go and use them, find them. All you have to do is put yourself out there. If your enroller is not where you want to be, or your enroller is not working the business anymore, or your enroller is whatever they're doing, that's their business. That is not your business. Just the same thing for your downline. People ask me all the time, they're like, your team is so active. Y'all, if you were to see my sponsorship downline of how many people are not qualified and active because they ghost me, or they enrolled and they walked away, or whatever it may be, their business is not my business. I am here to help their business if they choose to, but I cannot make their business successful. I can work my business and I can teach you how I work my business, but if you aren't going to do the things to do it, what's the matter? Right? Okay. So now that let me get off my like little soapbox here. Hey, and let's talk about follow-up and how I organize my potential. Let's kind of switch it into some training now that we know we're going to grow, right? We're going to take the rest of this month and the rest of this year, and we are going to grow ourselves. Deal? Can I get a yes? Like with our hands? Yes, we're going to grow? Yes. Okay, deal. Thank you. All right, I love y'all. Okay, so let's talk about follow-up. Let's talk about potentials. So first I want to talk about my potentials list just because I do it one of two ways, okay? I have my potentials list, and if you've been around here a while, you know how I do it. I am not a paper and pen kind of person. I lose everything. I don't carry a purse with me. Like, it's just not my jam. But if you are a paper and pen kind of person and you have a planner and that's your organization, in planners there's normally a note section, and I want you to use that to write out your potentials. And how I do it in my notes on my phone, but if you are a paper and pen person, you can do it on any notebook or a planner, is I have notes in my phone, like, iPhones, how they have that like note section. Mine is atrocious. All of my notes, because they're not organized. So we won't talk about organizing our phones, but we will talk about organizing potentials, because that is one of the only organized things in my life. I label it. I start a new one every year. So I started doing this last year. So my 2019 is just potentials 2019. Then I have January, and anybody I talk to about the business or products, I put their name there. So here, I'm going to show you. Oh, that's a little too bright. Hold on. Let me bring it down for you. So you see all those names? Why does it keep doing that? That's rude. That's very disrespectful, iPhone. You see all those names? It just keeps going. And my phone has a mind of its own. It's very disrespectful tonight. So we're just going to let it do it. But I have January of 2020, right? So potentials 2020, then I have January, then I have all of the names. If it's on Instagram, I put their Instagram name -Insta. If it's Facebook, I just have their first name and their last name on Instagram. If we have talked about a pack, like sometimes I get to the point of enrolling my potentials, like promoters, and I'll send them the 3-pack options, right? If we talk about a pack and they're like, I really want to do the $400 pack, next to their name, I put that pack option. I put $400. Why? Because that way I know if they aren't enrolling today, what we talked about, without me having to scroll through the conversation, without me having to reread everything. I know that Sandra Brown over here wanted a $400 pack. So when I go and message Sandra Brown, I'll be able to be like, hey, like, did you have any other questions? We'll talk about what I say in follow-ups, but I'll be able to work in the $400 pack. I'll be able to talk about the benefits of it. I'll be able to bring that into the conversation. So I do that. If it's a customer, I put which patch. So like which 3-step system. So Black Label, I'll just put BLK, like, you know what I mean? If it's Ultra 3 steps, I just put Ultra. If I talked about adding Sculpt, I'll do plus Sculpt. If I talked about adding Balance, I'll do plus Balance. Literally right next to their name. Why? So that way when I do follow up, or if we do have promos, like, you know how sometimes the company on like weekends will launch like promos that are like, you get a free whatever. Like, you know how they've done in the past, you get free Sculpt with a $150 order, or whatever it may be, right? They're really great with promos. We are very blessed by our company. Our CEOs are amazing. And that allows me to then, whenever they do that, I know I've talked to customers about it and I can go follow up with those customers. Once they've enrolled, I do a check mark, like the emoji check mark next to their name. That way I know not to reach out to them. That way I know like not to reach out to them about like a follow-up or anything like that. Another thing I do is if I see that they have joined Thrive under somebody else, or anything like that, that's awesome. Anything like that, then I will cross out their name, like the strike through. So I'll just exit it, like, bye, thank you. Because I'm not going to reach out to them. They've already joined, right? So one thing that I like to do also if they enroll as a promoter on that list is that also helps me because I run multiple accounts. If you run multiple accounts, I always get asked all the time by people who are either starting to run multiple accounts or they do run multiple accounts, how you keep track of your new people in their VIP period. This also allows me to do my follow-ups every single week when I'm doing my normal potential follow-ups with my new people. So I will also then go through that list, and if there's a check mark next to their name for that month, like of that, I'll go and I'll message them, hey, how are you doing? Because they're in their first 30 days. I'm in that month, right? So it allows me to make sure that I'm organized that way also, when I'm in that list, just making sure on Fridays, checking up with people if they aren't in my inbox. Because just like you guys, sometimes people enroll and they don't message me, and then other times people enroll and you guys message me all the time, which I love. By the way, if you ever feel like you're messaging me too much, I love it. It makes me happy because I don't know when you need something. So just a little side note there. Love that. The next thing I do is on Instagram, actually, because a lot of my business recently has moved over on Instagram. A lot of my potentials have come from Instagram. So Instagram has this really cool thing of ways that you can, wow, y'all went ham on tagging me tonight. Thank you. I appreciate it. I love sharing y'all in my story. But Instagram has this really fun thing that you can do when you have a creator's account. And if you've been on our team for a little bit, I've talked about having a business account on Instagram, but making a creator account. I highly suggest that because it comes with two separate inboxes. So I organize my inbox on here so I personally stay organized. My primary are anybody who is not in Thrive. My general is anybody who's in Thrive, whether they're a customer or a promoter or on a different team or on my team. I have primary and general. The reason I do that is because if I have 13 messages and I have 2 people in my primary, but the rest of them in my general, I'm going to answer the primary ones first if they're potentials that I'm trying to help and trying to get. And that way they also don't get bogged down, because I get tagged in so many things from Thrivers all day, which I love. Continue doing it. I love seeing all your stuff, but it allows me to stay organized with my on top of my potentials on busier days when I am time blocking or I'm running around. Yeah, so I'm going to talk about the flagging them. So next, what I do is if I'm talking to a potential and they've messaged me about the products, they've messaged me about being a promoter, or they are a customer of mine, I flag their message on Instagram. The reason I do that is because there's a sort option in your messages. You can sort your flagged messages. So when I'm doing my customer follow, because I believe that your customers are always potentials. They never go away. They never ever go away because they can order every single month. They could want to be a promoter. Like, they never go away. So all of my customers are flagged, and any potentials that I've had conversations are flagged. And the reason I do that is because once a month when I go and I check in on all my customers, I go through my flagged on my general side where all of my existing customers are. So now I have all of my customers that I can talk to. And then on my primary side is anybody who has never, ever enrolled through me or is not a Thriver, but has talked to me about it, and I can do follow-ups. Does that make sense, or do you want me to re-say that? Re-say that. Okay, I'm seeing the reverse. Okay, so there are 2 different inboxes when you have a creator account. Your primary are potentials or anybody who is not a Thriver. Primary is anybody who is not in Thrive. Your general inbox is anybody who is in Thrive, including your customers and your promoters. Anybody who uses Thrive, whether they're a promoter or a customer on your team, on anybody else's team, or they're your customer, I put them in general. Okay? So primary, people who have never done Thrive before. General, anything that has to do with Thrive, already existing. Okay? The next thing I do is I flag conversations. How I choose who to flag on Instagram is in my primary inbox are my potentials. So people who have asked me questions about the promoter side, people who have asked me questions about being a customer, right? So those are the two people that I flag because they're potentials on my primary inbox. Then over in my general inbox, I have flagged all of my current customers. Anybody who has actually ordered from me as a customer, not a promoter. Love y'all, but y'all are not flagged in my inbox. Y'all are in there, so I get your messages, but you aren't flagged, okay? I do this because Instagram, yeah, you can switch back and forth between the categories. It's up at the top. It says primary and general. You can switch back and forth. So they're separated that way. So once you put somebody in a general message, when they send you a message, so I'll show y'all. This is my primary inbox. Okay. Up on top, I just switched to general, and look, there y'all are with all your tags from tonight. Okay. So the reason I do this is because there's an option for each inbox to filter through all the messages of people you have flagged conversations. So when I'm doing my potential follow-ups on Instagram, it's so much easier for me instead of scrolling or having to type in their name or type in their username, because people change their names and their usernames all the dang time, right? And if I have over here XO Sally Mae, but she changed it and she dropped the XO and now she's just Sally Who, how am I going to find her conversation? Because on my potentials list, I have her username, right? So I have it flagged. So now in my primary inbox, I can go and I can filter. Up at the top, you'll see it, that'll be search, and then there's little things and it says filter. If you click that and you hit flagged messages, it'll bring up every flagged message in your primary inbox. Then you go to your general one on days that you want to follow up with your current customers, and you do flagged. And now it's going to bring up all of your current customers who you've had conversations with or they've ordered through Instagram. That's how I stay organized with my messages, because my messages get crazy in there. And I don't know about y'all, but after like scrolling, trying to find somebody's name, I have missed people like 100 times. And I'm like, why can't I find them? I know the message is there. And I'm like, wow, I passed through it like 38 times ago. So it allows me to filter things and be a lot more organized. I'm making sure I get all the questions. No, flagged messages always stay flagged. So if the flag or the message is gone, it means the message was deleted. So it flags the conversation, but once that conversation is deleted, it's no longer going to be flagged. Yes, you can switch between the two categories. It's up on the top. Okay, cool. Does anybody have conversations? Does anybody have can y'all tell I'm kind of out of it tonight? Does anybody have questions on either of those things or anything that I just said? Okay, cool. So that is the two different ways that I organize, because Facebook Messenger, I just have their first and last name on my potentials list. And I type it in and message them. But on Instagram, it's a little harder just because the usernames come involved, and it's Instagram. So it's always a little bit harder. They can't ever make it easy on us. So the next thing that I want to talk about is my follow-ups, how I follow up, what I say, what I do. I feel like a lot of times people ask, and they ask for like word for word, or what do you say, or what do I say, right? I get that a lot. I get questions like, do you have a generic thing that you say? I'm going to bring it back to some of my favorite trainings. There is no script to being a human. Okay. Same as with follow-ups. There is no scripts in follow-ups. If there was, it'd be a copy and paste, and we would be a different company. So for me, there are no scripts. There are no, hey, like, how are you doing? Did you want to order? Like, I have never, ever sent a message to somebody and said, are you ready to order? You're going to order today? I've never done that, nor do I ever suggest doing that. So if your follow-ups can include, are you ready to place your order today? Or did you still want to order? To me, that's not really a follow-up. That's more like a can I have your money? And I am big on making sure that I've answered everybody's questions. So a lot of my follow-ups just include me asking them like if they had any other questions. So like, for example, if I was talking to somebody about the promoter pack, right, or being a promoter, I would say something like, hey, I just wanted to touch base. Did you have any other questions? Were you still interested in my tribe? Something similar, like generic, similar like that is what I would say. And the reason I leave it at that is because either they'll respond back and they'll say, yes, I still had questions, like yada, yada, or no, I don't have questions, or they won't respond at all. It tells me where they're at. If they say, no, I don't have questions, I just say, great, I'm here if you do. If they give me questions, then we talk through their questions. If they don't respond at all, that's one follow-up for me. I do 2 follow-ups per person. After that, I'm not following up anymore. I'm just not. I don't believe in being that like little like gnat on the wall that's like flying around, you know, and you're like, "Hey, I'm still here. Hey, I'm still." They know you're here. They're watching you. If they've messaged you before, they still see your stuff and they're still watching. I have people from a year ago that still message me and they're like, "Okay, I'm ready." A year later, after 2 follow-ups a year ago, but because they continue to watch me, now they're ready. I'm going to tell you that you would rather have somebody come to you when they're ready than you badgering them to enroll. People are going to run on their time. They're not going to run because they enrolled. They're going to enroll and run when they're ready. If you badger them and they feel bad and they're like, okay, let's enroll, their fire isn't lit as much. They need to make that decision. So for me, that is the biggest thing. When it comes to customers, I normally follow up when we have sales. And I normally just let them know. I just say, hey, like, I just wanted to touch base. We have an amazing sale this weekend. Let me know if you have any other questions. One, I don't ever put what sale it is because they're gonna message you and be like, well, what's the sale? Now you have a conversation going, right? If you just message them and you're like, hey, I have free shipping this weekend. Let me know if you want to order. Well, you already told them what it is. So if they don't want to order or anything like, but when you have the conversation going, now it reopens that door for the conversation. So for me, I'm huge on making sure that I don't, same as in my post, I don't give too much and I keep the conversation going. I always ask if people have any questions. So many cold messages every day. So when somebody cold messages me, I always just say like, it depends what company they're with. If they're with my ex company, like my ex, if they're with my ex, if they're with my last company, that I first started with like many, many years ago, then I just say like, hey, I was a double. Like, I know that this is what you're taught. But there is a better way. If you ever have any questions, let me know. Something similar, simple like that. If it's just any company, I'm just like, thank you so much. I'm already with an amazing health and wellness company. I am so happy here. I wish you the best of luck. Simple as that. I always answer cold messages because when you answer them and you tell them you're already with the company, 8 times out of 10, they're going to go look at your profile and they're going to be like, well, what is she doing? People are nosy. It's what we do. Okay. So let me start answering these questions from the thread. And then if you guys have any other questions, drop them in the chat. How many months do you go back in follow-ups and how many times usually do you follow up? So I only follow up twice, but I will make sure when I go back. So like I keep all of my potentials threads. So I have my potentials from 2019. I have them from all this year. I'll start a new one next year. You know what I mean? They're organized by month. So for me, let's see, like when they remember at the beginning of the year or like when COVID had first started and they dropped that stimulus. Do you guys remember that if you were here for it? Not the stimulus for like the world, but stimulus for Thrive. They dropped that one. Everyone asked me how I earned it so fast. And I was like, I went through my potentials list. I saved stuff for that to then go back into my 2019 one. Because everybody who ordered that day for that stimulus bonus, I was a potential from 2019. So I just went through and I just said like, hey, I hope you like, I don't actually know exactly word for word what I said, but something I would have said if it was right now, I would have said like, hey, I hope you're doing well. Like, let me know if you have any questions, or I'll read through our conversation and I'll see what we were talking about. And if I have credits available and you can use credits, I'll just say, hey, like, I know we were talking about your goals. I know that you really wanted some mood stability. I'm offering some money off of the 3-step system that we talked about. Let me know if you have any questions. I'd love to chat. Something like that, something super, super simple. Again, I don't say how much money I'm giving off. I don't say what promo. I don't say anything like that. I just drop it in there. But I only, like for this year, I only follow up twice. And then after that, I let them follow me. How often do you follow up? How do you keep track? So for me, I follow up. We're in October. So today, so on Friday, I'll follow up with the beginning of October. So people from like the last week of September into this month are people that I'm still following up with, if that makes sense. I'm not following up with people from January, if that makes sense. And if I message them on Friday and they don't respond to me, I'm then not going to message them the following Friday. I'll wait a little bit, like till the next month to do my second follow-up, if that makes sense, or normally till a promo. I just answered that one. Do you ever eventually remove people from your list? The only time I remove people is if they've joined somebody else. Then I just cross them out because they're no longer a potential of mine since they're already in Thrive. I know you only follow up twice if they leave you on red, but do you keep them on the list after? I still do keep them on there. The only time I've ever removed people is if like they totally wasted my time or I didn't get a really good vibe from them. You know how you can get those vibes from people, or like they're like, okay, I'm enrolling tomorrow. And you message them and then they're like, okay, I'm enrolling next Friday. And then you message them on the next Friday and they're like, okay, like those ones I'm like, I'm here when you're ready. I'm not going to reach out to them anymore because I'm like, there's no point. They'll enroll when they're ready. Just my biggest thing with follow-ups is value your time. Value your time. Know what you have your hands on and value your time. But that also comes with the growing of your mind, because once you are at that level where you're like, not like level as in rank, but level within yourself, as you're like, you know what, somebody could tell me that this doesn't work, but I know it does because it works for me. Someone could tell me I'm in a scam and I'll just say, okay. Once you're at that level, you know when people are wasting your time. Right? When people, because there are tons of people, there's people that just make free accounts just to make free accounts, which is fine. But I'm busy. That's what I tell myself. I'm busy. So you are more than welcome to use my line. Hold on. Do you keep the order list for interacting? So once a month, I'll go through and make sure that I have interacted with people on my potentials list just to keep me up there, like make sure that I have. But honestly, most of my interactions throughout my week are from my potentials list just because they pop up because I continue to interact with them or have conversations. Yes, follow-ups are key. I will not lie. If you have not been following up, I want you to spend some time this week to create a potentials list for the last month. If you don't have a potentials list, I want you to spend the next couple of days. Obviously, you don't have to dive into it all at once, but spend the next couple of days, organize your social media, organize your Instagram inbox, organize a potentials list, either write it down or put it in your phone, because the best thing you're going to do is have people to follow up with. And more than that, when you're doing IPAs and you're like, I literally don't have anyone else to interact with. Well, you got a whole list of people that have shown interest in what you're doing and interest in your products. You got a whole list of people that you can interact with. Right? But not forced ones. Like genuinely keep yourself up on their newsfeed. Okay. I think I went over all the rest of these of how to organize, how often I reach out. Wording of messages is just going to be how you word things. How do you organize your inbox on Facebook? That's why I have it written out in my phone, because Facebook doesn't have a really easy way for us to organize it just like Instagram does. So I tend to use my notes on my phone for Facebook, and I just type their name in whenever I want to go interact with them or whenever I want to go do anything like that. So, the only time I put people on the list, the question was, do you put people who answer polls in the list? So the only time I put people on my potentials list is when I've had actual conversations with them. They've asked me questions about the products. They've asked me questions about the business. They've showed interest in it. I don't just put people on my potentials list just to put them on there, because then again, you have to remember, you're wasting your own time then. Because if they have not shown a single interest in what you're doing, they've just clicked a poll, but they haven't answered your message, they haven't reached out to you, then are they really a potential, or are they could have just hit the poll? You know what I mean? So let them keep watching, let them figure it out. They will come to you. The biggest thing of it is, do not overdo follow-ups, because you have to remember, if you're gonna start saying, in how we talk, and we're like, because we don't cold message, right? We don't spam, we don't do all these things that a lot of other companies teach you to do. But if you are constantly every single week in somebody's inbox and they're ignoring you, I am the biggest at taking the hint, right? Let it go. Be like that Frozen character. Let it go. It'll be okay. When they are ready to order or they have more questions, they know you're there. When you leave that line of communication open and you say, my inbox is open, or you say, do you have any other questions? Or if they say no and you say, okay, great, I'm here if you do, they know you're there. They will reach out to you again. So if that is all of the questions, oh, hold on. She ordered the ultras, and follow up with her how she's doing on the patches with that one. I I always follow up with my customers. I talk to my customers every single month. I just say like, hey, how are you doing? How are your products? Like, I'm very straightforward with my customers, just because they genuinely know why. If I'm reaching out to them to say, hey, how are you doing? How are your products? And they order their products from me, like, that's normal. You have that line of communication. Then you can genuinely message them and say, how's your Thrive doing? Right? Those messages are okay when they're your existing customer, 100%, because you have to ask them how their products are doing. You have to play that customer service for yourself. Do you keep friends and families just in primary? So my real life, like my mom and Rob, they're in primary. They're not in general. I answer them. And it also helps you to be able to, I don't know if anybody else has ever felt this way, where you feel like your entire social media is Thrive, or your entire social media is network marketing, and you're like, I don't want to lose who I am. My biggest thing is when a lot of times when people join companies, they get so excited, and rightfully so, especially when you join our tribe, because I think we're really freaking awesome, but you don't want to lose you. Right? You don't need to follow every single Thriver. You don't need to follow every single network marketing person. You don't need to lose your social media. You don't want to lose the fun. So for me, this also allows me to separate. It allows me to separate like life, and it allows me to separate Thrive. Nowadays they're one. Y'all are my life. Y'all are there, but it still allows me to, like, on nights like tonight where I don't feel too well, if I see I have messages on my inbox, and I click on it and my primary doesn't have any, I'm gonna wait till tomorrow. Right? Because for me, it allows me to just turn off for a little bit. It allows you to stop working. Think about it. Yes, you're running a business, and as a business owner, we work from the minute our eyes are open to the minute our eyes are closed. But if you're growing yourself and you're working on yourself, you can't also be working your business at the same time. So this allows that separation of knowing, like, okay, I can still use Instagram to look up like my favorite blogger and see what she's wearing, or my favorite mom, or my favorite whatever it may be, or my celebrity, or my whatever your guilty pleasure is on social media. It still allows you to do that, and it doesn't take away the fun, because social media, if you had fun on it before, you can still have fun. You don't have to become your company, which is why I am huge on saying branding yourself, because it allows you to not become the company. It allows you to become more in tune with yourself. And I was talking to Christina Tammy about this the other day, and I said, I see so many people who are like, I'm leveling up. And I'm like, what are you leveling up to? You really need to upgrade your damn self, because you need to dig on in and build on like an iOS 58, because who knows what even iOS we're on. So say you're like Apple and you need an upgrade, not a level up. You need an upgrade. So stop saying that you want to level up if you haven't upgraded yourself. The only way you're gonna level up, I don't even know what that means. Like, I always say I'm an upgrade season, because I'm always growing myself. So to me, I'm a new iOS. Every month is a new iOS. We're on like 3,800. I don't know, whatever we're on. But for me, if you are going on social media and you're only following up, or you're only doing your potentials, or you're only doing this, or you're only doing that, are you still having fun? Are you still doing the things? Like, I find really good podcasts and people in our industry who have podcasts on Instagram, and I go to their podcast. But if my entire social media was Thrive, I wouldn't find people for my self-development. So make sure that when you are following up, do time blocks and set it up. Like everything you do with your business, time block it. Because if you're spending 4 hours doing follow-ups, if you're spending 4 hours like this, 10 minutes. Y'all, my screen time on my phone, and you have to remember, we have a very large team. My screen time on my phone is never longer than 4 hours. And this is what I do for a living. So if your screen time is insanely high, ask yourself, are you time blocking, or are you telling yourself you're doing follow-ups? Are you telling yourself you're doing IPAs, but really you're on there scrolling, doing busy stuff? Be intentional with what you're doing. Be intentional with your follow-ups, and you're going to realize how quick they go, how quick conversations are started, how quick you're able to get organized. Because once you do organize your inboxes, once you do organize your potentials, once you do organize your follow-up schedule, and you set a day to do it, and you say, okay, Fridays are my follow-up days. I'm going to do 10-minute blocks. So I'll do a round of IPAs, and the rest of the day, I'm going to do 10 minutes of follow-ups whenever I have time. Perfect. Once you're done with your follow-ups, go into making new conversations. Go into interactions. 10 minutes, 5 minutes. Set it so that way you aren't so sucked into your phone, because the biggest thing you're going to do for your business, like, look at all y'all on your phones. I love y'all, but look at all y'all. Are you scrolling? Like, and I'm just saying, like, ask yourself, the best thing I ever did was turn my screen time counter on. And I'm not calling y'all out, because y'all are probably working your businesses, and I'm real proud of y'all. But seriously, ask yourself, you don't realize how often we're like this. And I feel like a lot of times people are like, I'm doing potentials, or I'm following up, or IPAs. Are you? Because you can get it done and build a successful business with a screen time of under 4 hours. Think about it. One last question, and then we're going to hop off of here. Do you still follow those pages even though they aren't potentials? Yes. Those are your guilty pleasures, girlfriend. Follow whoever you want. If they make you happy, follow them. The minute they make you unhappy, or the minute they make you question yourself, or the minute you find yourself comparing or saying that something isn't good enough, or whatever it may be, that's when you hit that unfollow button. And I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago, that we all have permission to unfollow whoever the heck we want. See? You can do it. You can follow whoever you want. You can unfollow. And I think that it starts genuinely with organizing and figuring out what you want to do on social media and what your time block should be. So I hope that this helped. Oh, now y'all, oh, that makes sense. Y'all are organizing your DMs. Duh. I just taught y'all how to do that, and then I'm calling y'all out for being on your phones. This is why y'all love me. Organize away, baby girl. All right. If y'all have any questions, I love y'all. I am proud of y'all, like, for organizing and working and doing all the things. And Shirts are still on their way. I just sent out I had a couple questions on this, so I'll touch on it real quick. I had a couple questions about shirts. Limitless Tribe, they are on the way. We had to break them up into sections. I've been getting a couple hundred at a time, well, less than 200 at a time, because of COVID. This shirt, she gets this color shirt, and then we really customize these. If you've gotten them already, you know. Look at Lindsay feeling herself right there. She's got it. She bleach dyes these and then hand puts these on to make sure that they stay on to the bleach dye and that the dye, like the bleach, doesn't put holes in the shirts. So it's a process. So we're working on it. I promise they are on the way. Rob dropped off the second batch of shipping to the UPS store this morning, and then the next round of shirts should be here by the end of the week, if not next week. And then I'll be in Miami next week, so I'll start shipping again by the end of next week. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your night, and happy organizing, happy follow-ups, happy all the things, happy setting your screen time, and I love y'all. Bye.